Hi, and welcome to ACCFI Presents. My name is Nina Means, Director for Austin Community College Fashion Incubator, and we're here today with Dr. Molly Beth Malcolm, the Executive Vice President for Campus Operations and Public Affairs. Welcome.
Thanks. It's great to be here, Nina.
We are really in for a treat today because Dr. Malcolm was key in the creation of the Fashion Incubator here at the community college. So I wanted to take a little bit of time for us to get to know her just a little bit better. So Dr. Malcolm, we are really fortunate to be able to have a corner of your time today. So thank you for making time for us. You know, you're very busy.
I am, but you know how much I love the Fashion Incubator, so I was glad to do this.
Wonderful, thank you. You know, you've actually been really interested, and not just interested, but, you know, a part of doing things with the fashion industry for some time. You know, can you tell us a little bit about, you know, what kind of got you interested in the fashion industry and, you know, why this became such a passion of yours?
Well, sure, and it goes way, way back. When I was a very little girl, about 3 or 4 years old, I had a mother who loved to go shopping and an aunt who loved to go shopping. And so my cousin and I would go shopping with them. Now, I will say at 4 years old, we spent a lot of time running under all the clothes racks and getting in trouble. But mother always was a very fashionable person. And so she early on taught me to love clothes and to love fashion. And so I spent a lot of time, even as a little girl, playing with paper dolls and dressing them up, and the Barbie dolls and the beautiful costumes that they could have. And then when I was in high school, we had I grew up in a small East Texas town with 3,000 people, but we had two fabulous dress shops. One of them was called the Bandbox. And the woman who owned the Bandbox had worked for Neiman Marcus in the 50s. And now she was in this small town and wanted to bring that kind of fashion to Winsboro, Texas. And I started modeling in style shows that they would have there.
Wow.
And that was fun. And that was in high school. And then in college, I began to model at the Apparel Mart in Dallas for Mike Benet Formals, which was, by the way, a Texas company based in Pittsburgh, Texas, close to
Oh,
where
wow.
and that was fun. While I was in college at SMU, I had a key to that showroom, and the person that was over that showroom had said, anytime you need a formal for one of the events, just go get you one of those. So I had a brand new, gorgeous designer formal for every event that I went to in college. So that was a lot of fun.
That's amazing. What a great relationship, and what an incredible experience working with a showroom in Dallas.
It really was. You know, the Dallas market, particularly then, that was in the 70s, was very big. People came from all over the country. And so I modeled it in every market. And there was a group of young ladies that all worked together. And, you know, we had the opportunity to be connected to stores from all over the country. And another fun thing about that was at the end of market, you were able to buy the samples. And for college girls, it was great to be able to buy these great designer clothes at sample prices.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, I think about, you know, I had a brief stint at Dallas Market Center myself, and all of the different stores. You're right. It's like it brings people from all over the country.
Yes.
You know, at very key times during the year. So for you to have been a part of that, I'm sure you saw all kinds of things. You know, you know, whenever we're looking at how all of that experience has kind of parlayed into, you know, your interest now, you know, even in the last, you know, 5-6 years of what it's taken to get us to where we are currently, you know, can you tell us a little bit about that, what that process was like, and kind of parlaying that interest as a, young child, and then a high schooler, then a college student, you know, and then working with Dallas Market Center, and now bringing that, you know, to ACC?
Sure. So the way I ended up getting connected, because as you hear, I've been in public affairs and in operations at the college. So I wasn't a faculty person per se, but I have always been known as someone that liked to have nice clothes and look nice. And people would often say to me, I never see you wear jeans. And then I would have on pants or something, they'd say, you never dress down. And I just, that's probably true. I just enjoy clothes, enjoy fashion, have read the magazines, looked through all of those, through the years as well. And so when there was a conversation that was starting in Austin about possibly having a fashion incubator, Dr. Rhodes did say, I know that's your thing. And so I was sent over there to work on it. And then Mike Midgley, who's the vice president of instruction, worked with me. I was kind of the fashion end of it. And he was, here's how we put programs together to make things work. So I guess the conversations first started in 2015 with people in the community. And then in 2016, we were talking about signing an interlocal agreement with the city of Austin. And the city of Austin approached us about starting the Fashion Incubator because they know that's what we do. I always say community college is the workforce workhorse of the area.
Absolutely.
And so we absolutely are. And they know that we're nimble, that we can turn on a dime, and that we can create things. So in conversations with them, we were beginning to look at starting this, getting to this interlocal agreement. And we took a trip to Dallas Community College, which had a fashion program, looked around there, visited a company that used the Gerber equipment that we are now using, and looked at that. We came back and ultimately did enter an interlocal agreement with the city of Austin in 2016. Okay, now we've entered that interlocal agreement. Now what do we do? So in 2017, we went to New York City. I had a friend, Jennifer Mankins, who's a designer, owns Bird.
Yes, I remember you mentioned her.
Yes, yes. Her mother and I are dear friends. She's from Texarkana, where I lived most of my adult life. And so it was really, I had no background in this other than loving clothes and loving the magazines and wanting this to be successful. But I knew somebody that could help us. So we called Jennifer. She set up an unbelievable tour for us, 3 or 4 days in New York, making sure that we met small designers in larger areas. We went to some of the incubators there. We toured some of the, in fact, I can't think what it was right now, but there was a great fashion exhibit at the Metropolitan Museum.
Yes, at the Met.
Yes. And so we made that part of our tour. But it was while we were there in New York, and as we're listening to each one of these people and learning, that Mike and I both looked at each other and said, we've got to hire somebody. We are beyond what we can do at this point. And that's when we got the job description, had a lot of local people involved. They're in the fashion industry. And that's when you were hired to be the Fashion Incubator director. Then I guess the next year in 2018.
Yep, 2018 is when we got started.
Yep. So that's kind of how the background started. Now, did I answer? Or
yes, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, I think that it's so important for us to really just set the stage. A lot of people are new to this area and are kind of seeing the Fashion Incubator for the first time, but they're not really sure, where it came from or what some of the initiatives are, and or how it even got here. And so it's so key for us to tell that story, of the people who are involved. You, Dr. Malcolm, and Mike Midgley, and the city of Austin, and all of the work that was had gone into actually creating the Fashion Incubator. So we definitely want to make sure that those stories are amplified so that we're able to share how this ecosystem is really coming to be. So thank you so much for taking the time to answer, about the beginnings of, really what I think is going to really help catalyze our industry.